Hey everybody, I'm Steve Mobby, and I am here for the first of a series of videos where we get with pipe smokers, pipe collectors, and talk about pipe collections. I'm here with John McElheny for our first installment of this. John is the pipe specialist here at smokingpipes.com. Started out as a copywriter describing the pipes that you see on the website, and now he evaluates a lot of the estate pipes that people send in to get them up on the site so that we can sell. So tell me a little bit about what got you collecting pipes in the first place, or what got you into smoking a pipe. How'd that all start?
Well, I started primarily as a cigar smoker, big into cigars, worked at a cigar shop for a number of years. I even tried to smoke a pipe when I was working there. It didn't work out too well. But when I started working here, Shane gave me an old ROP, and I just started smoking that off and on, and it picked up from there, and I just never put it down.
Yeah.
So as the years have gone by, I've just sort of gradually accumulated more and more, and I can't seem to stop myself.
Yeah, sometimes maybe not so gradual.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's a little bit of a sharp uptick. But it's interesting. Shane actually gave me my first pipe too, which was also a ROP.
Nice.
What was the shape that he gave you?
Straight billiard horn stem.
Straight billiard horn stem. Okay. So Shane has a story about he walked into a shop first time he was smoking a pipe, and the shopkeep basically used the old sales tactic that we look at your face and determine what shape of pipe would fit. So when he gave me my first pipe, he gave me a bulldog.
Oh.
So that tells you what he thought about my face compared to what he thought about yours. But yeah, I'm seeing that we've got some, based on the collection that we're looking at here, we've got some evolution from ROP straight billiards. First of all, what you're smoking right there?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that one.
This is just a cute little Canadian from Stanwell. This was actually one of their World Championship pipe smoking contest pipes. I don't remember when it was made. 2000. This is special because it was given to me by Chuck Stanyon, who some of you may be familiar with as our former writer and editor, and someone who I look up to very much. I was smoking at his house and didn't have a pipe, and he said, "You can have this." It's like it was nothing. He's an incredible man.
Yeah, Chuck was just an absolutely great human being, and also excellent pipe collector and very, very knowledgeable. That's a very special piece there. So, you started with the billiard, straight stem billiard, not, too far from that.
Yeah.
A little bit of an evolution on the billiard. Is that something that you smoke regularly, that one?
This is actually the newest member of my collection.
Oh, okay.
I got this not too long ago, so it's still being broken in. He gave it to me unsmoked.
Okay. So I thought this was like an early pipe store. You went to a pipe smoker's house recently with no pipe.
No pipe.
Okay, so that's just on you.
Yeah, that's
I
my
think
fault.
at that point, you be prepared or you get nothing.
I was lucky.
Chuck's
he
a
was
nicer
nice.
guy than I am. Okay, so that's it's been breaking in pretty well. You've been smoking it a bit?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
I can't really find any problems with it. And it has excellent grain too, just all the way around.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Even rings.
That's beautiful. Yeah, those old Stanwells, 2000, anything, the Danish-made stuff, just excellent pipes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a beautiful piece. Very nice pipe. So then we've got some other stuff here where it looks like you have kind of maybe evolved from the billiard archetype a little bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about some of the stuff that we've got here. This guy's catching my eye.
Okay, all right. That
Because I am a bulldog smoker. Shane was right about that.
was going to be the next one that I picked up too.
Perfect.
This is an Ashton Old Church straight bulldog.
Yeah.
I have always been interested in the bulldog shape, but I never really owned one. The first pipe I ever bought was some basket pipe, but it was a Rhodesian, and it wasn't very good at all. This, however, is great. It smokes great, it is stout, it is sturdy, it's got really nice and firm lines, but it is not so large that it weighs on you. It's not so large that you can't hold it comfortably in a clinch, and I've just a solid everyday smoker.
Yeah, that's very well balanced. That's lighter than I expected it to be when I picked it up.
This also, while not the first And as you can see next to the other two pipes, kind of speaks toward my predilection for Cumberland-style finishes.
Yeah, there's a theme there, for sure.
Yeah, just a little bit, just a touch.
So what was it specifically about that one? Like when you saw it, you hadn't really jumped on a bulldog before. What was it about that one where you were like, I'm going to take a chance on a bulldog?
Well, I wanted something English. I didn't have any English pipes in my collection at all up until that point. I wanted something that was approachable, something whose finish was crisp and had nicely defined grain. This actually has some pretty nice bird's eye on it.
It does.
And this just, there was something about it in the moment with that kind of almost tan shell style finish. I looked at this and then I looked at this and I thought, because I had already purchased this at that point, and I thought, that seems like it fits. And then I got the pipe and it does.
Okay.
And it does fit.
It fits well into the collection.
Exactly, slotted right in.
So have you picked up more English pipes since then?
No.
So that's still the one and only.
It's the
English.
only English pipe I own, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on from the English a little bit. I see we've got some Italian stuff here.
Yes.
At least one. So what do we got going on there?
This is a Lanatra paneled Lovat that was made for P&T in 2005. And yes, I did have to read the nomenclature. I forgot. And I think it's one of the coolest things that Lanatra ever did. This bowl is just really impressively symmetrical.
Yeah.
The panels
very
are
sharp.
straight.
Yep.
The stem is straight. There's like the tiniest little bit of a flare in this direction. The finish is excellent. Like the grain is nice. I used to have a lot more Italian pipes. I used to own several, and I would smoke them fairly often. But at a certain point, something switched, and they all just became a little bit too large for my tastes. And then we got these on site, and I looked at it, and I saw the visible ring grain.
Yeah.
And the straight grain just flowing across the entire stummel, and I couldn't not buy it. It was, and still remains to this day. It is an incredible smoker, and it's one of my favorites. And it's kind of an odd duck for me, I think, because at this point it might actually be my only Italian pipe.
Oh wow! So you've pretty much winnowed down your collection pretty significantly from having a lot of Italian stuff. I mean, I'm a sucker for a Lovat. That's one of my other favorite shapes, along with the bulldog, and that's just an excellent example of it.
And the panels just elevate it for me. I didn't know.
There's a little twist on the shape.
I didn't know how much I liked paneled pipes until I had this one.
Okay. So that's your only Italian. Is it your only paneled?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, we got to fill out some English. We got to fill out some panel. We got to get that collection up a little bit. I think I see. Is that an Abe?
Yes.
Sitting there. I'm a huge fan of Abe. I actually just bought an an estate Abe from the site. So I'm a big fan of Abe Herbaugh as well. Tell me about that one.
This is a cutty he made. I forget exactly when, but I also didn't own a cutty. Okay. I didn't own an Herbaugh, and I've always loved his work. I did that from the second I started working here. He and Yeti specifically, as American carvers, really just leaped out at me as being different in certain ways, and I think that Herbaugh's control over the classic shapes, the stuff that people have been making for centuries, is really, really on a higher level in the American pipe making sphere. And this one, of course, having a Cumberland style finish, Cumberland stem, silver band, and just the tiniest little spur.
Yeah, it's so nice.
It's cute, and it's made well, and there's just a really fine edge too on the front. There's a ridge that just separates the bowl.
Yeah, very subtle.
kind of makes a teardrop shape out of this spur.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shaping detail going on, even though it's something you can kind of look at and grasp most of it from the outset. It's something that changes as you look at it. And it's been aging really nicely too. Like the finish has been getting a little bit of patina, and it's just it looks really nice.
Yeah, the way the shape follows that grain pattern on there is just so very well done. I love the stem work here. You know, like you said, I mean, he is such an excellent craftsman. He does things that, you know, everybody does classics. Everybody does them. But there's some people who do them just so perfectly, but with their own style and their own voice, that you just instantly recognize, like, that's an Abe Herbaugh pipe. You know, Yeti is another good example of that you mentioned. And of course, Yeti also has the, you know, that really glossy finish that you can see that's just instantly distinctive. And Abe kind of gets that same level of distinction with more traditional finishing, which is just very, very cool, very impressive. But then he can also do kind of, you know, more experimental things very well too. And that it's kind of hard for a pipe maker to be really good at both of those things.
He toes that line incredibly, and we see it in almost everything he does. And I'm very, very happy to have started my pipe smoking career at a time when so many fantastic artisans are hitting their full stride.
Yeah.
You know? It's really thrilling to think of the future and what they may be able to show us.
Yeah.
And you know, break forth from their mind, I guess.
And what they might be able to do to our checking accounts.
Yeah.
And our pipe collections, as we have to spend more and more of our paycheck on these gorgeous pipes.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
It could be so much worse.
It could be. Yeah, so that's an awesome one there too. Let's see what I see. So we've got two on here that I think I saw you pull out of one box. We got a two-pipe set?
Yes.
All right.
This, I didn't actually mean to get the two pipes that came in a singular set. I was going to get one from each box. But I really wanted to show this guy off. This is the smallest pipe that I own, and it's precious. I love this thing. It's super light, super easy to clench. The grain is phenomenal. It's got a dual finish, so you've got smooth bird's eye all over the rim and ring grain just flowing, or almost ring grain, flowing down the lower side of the stummel. It smokes well, and it's got a boxwood accent, and I don't have any of those in my collection. There's so many things about this pipe that are incredible. And the way that Kuhn is able to pack that much shaping substance into a pipe that is that tiny, is incredible.
Very impressive.
And then there's this tomato, which
that's a killer pipe.
I am such a sucker for these squat, rounded shapes, these super curvaceous, almost flat kind of extensions, potentially, of the apple shape. But this tomato, for me at least, is a particularly nice example. You've got this really densely compacted knuckle, or length rather, of bamboo, four knuckles.
Yeah, that accent is amazing. It just immediately pops when you see that pipe.
And he's inlaid as well. I'm not quite sure what these are, but it could be ivorite, it could be really anything, but these little tiny white inserts here that he's inlaid, two on each side. He's extended the little indents of the knuckles too. There's so much about this pipe
detail
that I love to see. There's a lot of detail. It's got just the slightest bit of a dip in the outline that gives the shape of the bowl that extra oomph. And of course, the grain is just fantastic.
Killer. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing grain.
I'm a big fan of bird's eye, and the underside of that pipe is just outstanding.
Yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. So, you know, you mentioned that this is the smallest pipe that you own, probably. This one is not exactly hefty.
No.
What was it that made you want to jump at something that's maybe a little outside your wheelhouse?
That is a good question. I think I started to consider the larger pipes that I had owned, those larger Italians to some extent, and I thought, how many of these have passed through my collection? How many of these have I smoked? Have I ever really smoked something smaller? And smaller in the way that we think of smaller, as like intentionally made to be portable like this. Mm-hmm. And I realized that I never had. So when that set came available, I couldn't miss the opportunity. And it didn't hurt that it was just adorable.
Yeah. I mean, like these are great pipes to kind of take that risk on. He's an excellent pipe maker.
Yeah.
You're going to get something good. And I mean, both of these are just beautiful. I love that this one doesn't even go all the way to the top of the rack here. Yeah, just such a little precious little baby pipe. I absolutely love that. That's this one right here though might be my personal favorite out of this collection right here. That's amazing pipe.
I gravitate toward it every time whenever I'm looking at my stuff, and I just sort of lock onto it and stare for a couple of minutes because I feel like I need to.
Yeah. Do you find yourself smoking it more than other pipes, or do you kind of like baby it a little bit?
I definitely baby it.
Yeah.
I baby it very much so. Honestly, out of all of these two are probably the ones that I smoke the most.
Workhorses. Okay.
The main reason for that, though, isn't just because, it's like, they're not the artisan pieces. That's not what it is. It's the fact that these chambers are the right dimensions for English blends.
Okay.
And I'm a big English smoker.
Cannot relate.
Yeah, everything else on this rack, with these two exceptions, is Virginia Burley, essentially. Virginia Burley, Virginia Perique. And I really don't smoke that too often, but I have made a concerted effort to, which is why I think I've been buying these really nice pipes to use as the smokers of those tobaccos, because I need to have a reason to some extent.
That's fair. I mean, and I was going to ask even like, when you find yourself looking at this one more, but you don't smoke it as much. When you do smoke it, so is it like a special occasion thing that you smoke that on, or is it, maybe even when you do decide to smoke it, it becomes a special occasion because you have that kind of like visual aesthetic attachment and enjoyment of it that you find it being a more pleasurable experience?
Honestly, I think it's just when it takes me.
Okay.
When I find myself thinking, I really want some Perique, I'll gravitate toward that one.
Okay. Yeah, I would smoke that one every bowl. I'm pretty much a Perique fanboy. So we've got one pipe left here that we haven't talked about yet.
Yes.
And I think this is the one that I heard you say is sort of your personal favorite. Mm-hmm. Maybe not necessarily, the most expensive pipe on here, but, just the one that you enjoy the most. Tell us about this one.
This is, to me, the platonic ideal of perfection in the Prince shape. Technically, it's also a tomato, but this right here is representative of the moment I realized I really like Cumberland-style finishes, and I love the tomato. It was a combination of different realizations for me. It was like an inflection point almost in my pipe collecting career. There's nothing I would change about this pipe. This is by Ryan Alden, by the way, who has he's just done such a fantastic job with this piece. Of all the other pipes on this rack that aren't Latakia smokers, this is the one I smoke the most.
Okay.
It is comfortable. Okay. The grain is excellent. The finish, the colors are nice. The combination through here with that very slightly tarnished silver, which is my bad, and this stem and the ruddy tones of the stummel, it's beautiful to look at, or at least for me. And I love it. I love this piece so much.
And I know we've kind of talked a little bit about how, your first English pipe, and then you didn't buy any more Englishes. Mm-hmm. Your first panel pipe, you didn't buy any more panels. if that was your first Cumberland, you have definitely
Yes.
Picked up on that a little bit and got some more Cumberlands in your collection.
That is that
So that one actually started a little bit of a trend for you.
or at least a consistent trend.
Okay. And Ryan is also just in the pipe community one of my favorite people. Haven't seen him at a show in a few years. He's been kind of doing other things, but he is just a great time to hang out with. And that's one of the things for me that I always love. Like when I'm smoking a pipe from somebody, if I have a backstory with that person, I just know they're a good guy, and we've hung out and had a beer together, all that kind of stuff. It just adds an extra layer to to the enjoyment of the pipe. Like I got my little Pete Prevost here. The Blowcano. If you look at it from one angle, it's a blowfish, but if you look at it from that angle, it's a volcano. I've been friends with Pete for years. He was one of the first people in the pipe community that I really got to know and hung out with. This was actually the first pipe that I bought from him, just in Vegas last year, and I have been smoking this pipe religiously since then. And every time I smoke it, I'm taken back to all the shows that I've been to and all the the times that I've hung out with Pete and the Briarworks guys. It just adds something to the enjoyment of the pipe. But yeah, it's awesome that you have that, because I don't think you've ever met Ryan. I don't think you were around since he's been coming to shows. No. It's awesome that you have that connection, even without knowing him personally. You can just kind of feel his personality in it a little bit and just enjoy the pipe.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that is a very impressive collection that you brought here. I'm definitely jealous of a few of these, and I'm gonna say there's a couple here that if you ever decide to let them go, that you should definitely let me know. I might have to pad out my own collection a little bit.
Right.
But so we've talked a little bit about how your tastes, your collection has kind of evolved a little bit. You started off with larger stuff, Italian stuff more than just about anything. Gravitated a little bit towards smaller things. You really like the panel, you like the English, but you've kind of gravitated towards the Cumberland. And we talked about what's developing in the American market. So what about for you personally? How do you see your tastes evolving? Have you seen any trends in your collection, and do you kind of have any predictions for where those trends might take you over the next 5 years or whatever?
I actually do. Yeah, I got a pretty good idea about that.
Okay. Okay.
These two Yankoons are just one set of his that I bought. I actually bought another one of his sets from the site. A gorgeous natural smooth Rhodesian and a really nice ruddy sandblasted pot with bamboo.
Okay.
Lovely set, just like this set is lovely. I am finding myself gravitating toward Asian artisans more and more.
Okay.
They do very interesting stuff. Their finishes are always intriguing, and their accent work is fantastic. Kuhn in particular, fantastic work. Great job. I don't know if I have seen a pipe from him that I've really intensely disliked.
Okay.
Which is
that's
hard.
Rare. Yeah,
I'm very particular. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other Asian artisans that you've kind of got your eye on?
Wandi Rigati.
Yeah.
I have been a fan of his since before he came onto the site. We had a couple of estates from him, and I looked at him really intensely.
Yeah.
Because I had never seen anything like it. And I realized, he's from Indonesia.
Yeah.
This is incredible. I don't know if we've seen anyone from Indonesia doing stuff like this, and he has just gotten better and better as the years have gone on.
Yeah, I mean, Wandi has been doing and continues to do fantastic work. What about just more generally? Is there, for the future of your collection, is there a holy grail pipe? Like, is there just something like on the bucket list that you just have to pick up when you get a chance?
I am not entirely sure.
Okay.
For me,
you know it when you see it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. A grail pipe is something I will know when I see, and I will immediately form that connection when I do. And as we were talking about this, I realized I kind of do have one.
Okay.
It's just slipped through my grasp twice.
Okay. I know that feeling.
One of the pipe making expos we held a few years back, Ryan Alden presented us with a scorpion tail calabash.
I knew that's what you were going to say as soon as you said Ryan.
I fawned and obsessed and sung that pipe's praises for days. And I did get to write about it, and then I watched it sell instantly. and that hurt. And then it came back as an estate, and I thought, now's my chance.
Yeah.
Now's my chance, and it was gone before I could even look at it on site.
Yeah.
So I would say that maybe, but if not that, I'll know it when I see it.
Okay, that's fair. Hopefully you get the chance to pick that one up, or something better comes along that you get to score.
We shall see.
All right. Well, thanks, John, for bringing in your pipe collection and taking a few minutes to talk to us. And thanks to you guys for tuning in. And hopefully we'll be doing more collections for you guys to check out in the future. See you guys next time.